I'm Tony from Sonata Arctica, and this is...
I'm Henrik, also from Sonata Arctica.
Yes. Busy, interviews and festival shows. So it's been a lot of things, and trying to have vacation on every opportunity you get, like small fractions, day here, day there, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been. We've been playing every weekend, and luckily we got to finish the album in the beginning of the summer, so we could let that go some time ago. And now the album is coming out in a month, and from there on it's full on touring for the rest of the year. So we've been, as Tony said, trying to rest a little bit in between the wheels, but it's been a bit tough sometimes. It's great. I don't know. It seems like every time you try to explain it somewhat, it goes so wrong, so hard to put wrong. So, but I would say maybe the easiest way to explain it is like if you listen to our first single, it's probably nothing like that.
Well, the thing is that for many albums already, we have sort of tried with our own means, make the album sound more like what we are live, because we are praised often about what our shows, how we sound like live, that it's not really good, but there's something lacking on the album. Then again, and we've been trying to do that on our own, and then this time, for the first time ever, we actually had a producer, our front of house guy.
Okay, I
producing
didn't know
the album with us, and of course, that's the easiest way of getting the live sound feeling, the album, and that probably is the biggest difference. Also on the sound, because the first thing that probably hits you is that there's a lot of bass. The bass is pretty prominent there, and even so loud that Bassi, the bass player, he was a little. Does it have to be that loud? And Mikko's adamant that you need to have it like that, because of course when you're listening to a band live, there's a lot of bass, obviously. So he delivered what we were asking from him. I think the album sounds really great, more organic. We also recorded all the drums and bass live together in the same space, and of course a lot of dubbing on the other instruments on top of that. But when you get the rhythm section playing together live in the same room, instead of playing drums here, bass there, and then like doing the normal current thing that people are doing everywhere, when you do it like this, you get more, I don't know, compact, and more like complete. The whole thing sounds more live-like.
Yeah.
Tiny things that you can notice that it's not tick 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 going on click necessarily, and that's the good thing. It sounds live, which was the aim. Well, probably we're gonna sound pretty much exactly the same.
I don't think. Even if you try, it never is going to be exactly the same. But I think we played the songs the way we want to hear them, and we're going to try to do that live as well with these songs until we get bored, and then we start changing up things.
Yeah, the album sounds a little bit like live, and now we sound live, even more live. So,
exactly. How much live can you get?
Yeah. One of the things is power metal, I think. Well, the first song, Message from the Sun, that's, I feel the power metal thing of this album. It's a power metal song, but we are not denying that being part of who we are, but it's just a small fraction of the whole package, I think. And I'm inclined to call us melodic metal. With the metal, I know a lot of people who would say that you're not metal, because metal music. I even consider metal music being something like Children of Bodom are doing, for example, and something way heavier than what we are currently doing. We are in many places with many songs. We are closer to some kind of rock, hard, heavy rock type thing, and I think we're some kind of hybrid of whatever people say we are. I think it's really hard to put a label on what we do, and I suppose we shouldn't spit on any of the labels that people give us, even the our Nuclear Blast label, you know, when they put us on the power metal box, you know, we said, well, okay, then
It might be
power
a
metal,
misleading. Maybe.
it's misleading, you know. A lot of people, many of the people who really love power metal, the true, really honest power metal, and then they listen to Sonata Arctica, they don't consider us being power metal, and then I think that's the strongest testament of the fact that we are probably not power metal. If it doesn't look like a banana, it doesn't taste like banana. What is it? It's not a banana. You know, so, yeah. We were the first 4 albums, 3 or 4 albums. We were like children. When you think of it, we are like now 20 years old. And then with 4th or 5th album, Reckoning Night was already a little bit different album, but at least finally on Junia we hit the puberty. We started rebelling against everything, and if you like to think it that way, and we drifted around, did a lot of experimental things.
Yeah, I mean,
up until
Tuonela was a big shock to a lot of people. But there was
also for us.
Yeah, but there was also a point where you were like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is the kind of stuff I want to write now, and we were listening to it, and some stuff we did get immediately. Sometimes some stuff we had to play a little bit, but the thing was, everybody was like, well, then let's do this and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really good thing, because otherwise I think 1 or 2 more albums like in power metal style, and then you would be so bored that you would have disbanded the whole band. You wouldn't be here. So it was a shock to everybody, but we were still
commercial
here,
suicide,
yeah.
some people call it. And probably so in some ways, you know. We were really on a rise, and then just like I turned the engines off. But anyway, the whole experimental puberty age, it ended with Stones Grow Her Name album. That was the last of it, and then I think now we are been writing the adulthood train with Paradise Child, The Ninth Hour, and now Talviyö album. These are like in line, these albums. I can't see them being that hugely different from each other. I think they are.
So
of course they're different, but still, you know, especially the sound thing.
So next you can expect the midlife crisis.
yeah, and
something's gonna happen.
It's like again, like really fast, like maybe speed metal songs.
They're all waiting for the crisis. They're nice songs to play live, but I can't see myself writing that kind of music anymore. Like 1 song or 2 songs, yeah, fine. If they come naturally, like Message from the Sun, it's just, oh, look what I got, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a reason to miss it, because it's still there.
Yeah,
it's still there.
And whenever we do the set list, you go back and pick some of the old stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So it's always present anyway. So.
Yeah. Did you miss looking at these same cartoons that you were watching when you were a kid? Not necessarily, or Teletubbies or whatever, but it's like same thing. I like the past. It's fun that we did that in some point, but it was time to move on.
Yeah, I think it's really great that when we do new stuff, it's different, and we still have all the stuff that we've been doing. It's just to pick and choose and play.
If we would go back to the style of the early days, and that would be fake. At least,
I think so,
at least when you ask from me, and if I started writing only songs that were in that vein, it would be. You should question my motives.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I get so much more out from the music than just, you know, the daily bread. Thing. But still, I try and then hope to stay true to what I do. True metal! In that sense, and then stand behind my own things, what I do. Fairly easy. I had started the songwriting already on the previous tour, and there are a lot of course I'm writing constantly. I have my cell phone with me, and I'm humming, you know, ideas here and there, and then when I start compiling the songs like I did in the beginning of 2018, I you know, got all the best ideas on the table and started making songs out of them. And already last summer during some festival. I was able to play just about the whole album with demos of the guys and also the producer Mikko. And so it was fairly easy. Of course, I had my moments of agony there that I don't know sure what's going to happen with this. And there were some songs that I wasn't so sure of, but the guys were really supportive and all the songs were great.
Yeah, they still are.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
So, of course, when I spend so much time writing the songs, you get bored with them to start with, and then of course it's healthy in that moment to gather your courage and play the songs to some outsider, especially the band guys, and see how they feel about them and get their feedback, and that usually gets me excited again on the same songs. Like, okay, right, great.
We are so much.
It's a
band
really,
is so much outsiders.
yeah. No, but in that
Of
process
the
of songwriting,
of
my personal songwriting, because
Yeah, of course.
it's a really solitary thing for me. For some reason these days, it wasn't like that. Back in the days, I was writing the songs in a rehearsal space. The guys were doodling with their guitars and drums and whatnot and smoking back in the day. And I was writing the songs, and finally we had I had enough ideas to start, trying out with the guys, and that was how the first
Before
album.
computers.
Yeah, before computers, basically, yeah. And everything changed. The Last of the Lambs. Nobody dies to start with. It's a weird Caleb Saga song, but it's still in the same vein. It's probably the most artsy song on that saga. It's really slow and how would I describe it?
Go on,
Well,
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's gloomy, but still, you can also see it as a song on its own. In a way, it's a human relationship thing once again, as these songs are.
I think it has some similarities in feel with On the Fault Line.
Yeah, yes, yeah, I have to agree.
Some
with
of
that,
the
yes.
moods have some similarities too.
Yeah, you can also consider it being in that category, but still, I choose to think that it's Caleb and Juliet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's not a story that goes on from one song to another, but rather playing around with the same theme again and again, like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
More or less, new bunch of kids having sex, and now here comes. Well, that's what the movies are about.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah. Ismo is Mika, actually. His name is, or was Mika. He was my dear friend who passed on quite many years ago already, and he was 7 years older than I was. And I must have been like 12, 13 when he was studying to be this kindergarten teacher. And as a part of the education, he had to work with these kids with disabilities and challenged developmental issues and such. And one time they were out on this retreat to an island, took a boat with an outboard engine and everything with motor. And they were standing on the pier there, and suddenly Mika noticed that the engine is about, the motor is going to drop on the water, and he managed to grab it before it fell on the rocks because it was pretty shallow there. And one of the kids there said, "Oh, Ismo's got good reactors," meaning that Mika's got great reactions on reflexes. But that story got stuck, and every time something like that happens to me, I'm like, "Oh, Ismo's got good reactors." Ismolla on hyvät reaktorit in Finnish, and it's a nice way of remembering my friend who had a great sense of humor. It's a story that lives on.
Wow, that's beautiful. I didn't know there would be such a big story behind it, but I was kind of wondering about the title because it's a bit like...
Well, instrumental song, which is pretty weird. I think it deserves a weird name.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be weird to call it like Stone or something like that. A rock, exactly. there's this one part that is really, really old. I must have written it like 20 years ago already, or more, 30 years ago, because when I was a kid, it's a melody that you can play only with the black keys. So I was doodling around with keyboards, and that idea never got anywhere until now. I had the rest of the parts pretty much there, and I just figured that, I have this stupid old thing, so let's try it. Maybe it fits in, and it kind of seals the whole idea on the song that it takes you around the world, or at least around the Orient in some way.
The block.
Around the block. But then you get this vibe that you are in the different places, like now you are in Japan or somewhere there, and now you are somewhere in the Middle East or wherever. And it's just, I was just having fun. It wasn't supposed to become a song at all. It's just, trying out different kind of sounds and stupid ideas. And sometimes it's something you need to do, because whatever you do, there's always use for it in some point. Even if you write a 10-minute weird song thing, there might be like 10 seconds there that makes some other song later on perfect that you can steal from that, and it never goes to waste, whatever you do. At least.
Yeah, I mean, it was something like Tony played it along with the other demos. Not maybe being too serious about it, but somehow it was just sort of too funny to we couldn't let it go, so we had
especially with the story behind the name.
Yeah, exactly. So we had to do it. And then we rehearsed the song and go, yeah, this could work. So now it's there. Let's see what kind of trouble we get into that when we try to play that live or something.
The album is called Talviyö, but only...
Well pronounced.
Thank you. Well, I've lived you for a little bit. Yeah, actually, I'm wondering, how do you think people are gonna mispronounce it? Because...
I've heard it pronounced wrong more times than I've heard it pronounced right. I've done a lot of interviews already, and there's more to come. So it's exciting.
Yeah, but I think you always get the point if you try.
Yeah,
a lot
exactly.
of people whistle out and say like, you have this new album which is Winter Night, but in Finnish.
Talviyö.
A lot of people go around it that way, and then it's like, come on, try at least, It's how it's fun.
Is that part of the reason, at least, why you picked the title? Because it's kind of difficult?
Yes, it is. We didn't have a name. We had everything ready for the album, the artwork and everything, and didn't have a name. So, what do you have there? You have a winter, and it's night time. So at first I was trying out, winter, talvi, and in English and in Finnish and in other languages. I was, doing the Google Translator thing, different languages. That if I came up with if I found a word meaning winter that it looks really cool and is weird enough, and I didn't find any other than talvi. That was probably the nicest version of it, and it's exotic. That the guys thought that it's really boring, so
and then like you said Talviyö.
Talviyö is like, and then as a joke already, this would be fun to hear how people say it, how to pronounce it wrong. Ha ha ha! Everybody started laughing, and at the same time, sort of fell in love with the idea, and then it sort of sealed the whole deal. And Talviyö is what we have here, and gonna have to pay the price for it, I'm sure. It doesn't,
yeah, I think it fits more with the band than with the songs.
Because of Sonata Arctica, I think the album cover it's the most Sonata Arctica ever.
Yeah.
Album cover, and
it doesn't get more Arctic than
yeah, but music itself, I can't see myself writing too many songs that are in any vein, like having a theme that goes on through the album. I find it really difficult. It's just a bunch of songs that sometimes seem to have some kind of link in between, and sometimes they even have. But there's one song, The Message from the Sun, which is about the mythology surrounding Northern Lights, and that's the reason why it is the first song also there. At least one of the reasons. The other place for it could have been in Japan as a bonus track, because it's really one-off kind of song also on the album. Yeah. The same day we released the album, we are embarking on the North American tour. It
Yeah, we're gonna start there, and we play 7 weeks in the States, and then we got a couple of weeks off, and then we do 5 weeks in Europe, and then it's almost Christmas, a short Christmas break. Then we have more shows in the spring, and in the summer, and next fall, and that's the longest we have planned so far.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be really fun to start to play more of the new songs. We have only played one new song so far live. Then we're gonna play more in next month actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, next autumn, you know, when the album's done, we're certainly gonna have a tiny break. Maybe that would allow me to start writing the songs for the next album already, and you know, then unless we come up with some great tour with this album, then it would be a great opportunity to go back to the acoustic thing once again.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask that next.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's something such a first world problem for us, you know.
Yeah.
Should we do this or this? There's so much cool stuff that we can do. So
Yeah.
at least for now, we're gonna tour with this album until next fall, and then we'll see what we do next. But I'm sure it's gonna be something fun.
But I don't see any reason why we should kind of over tour this album. Rather go and then create something new and come back again.
Yeah.
Do the acoustic thing, because I think it has its own worth. It's a really valuable addition to the Sonata Arctica thing. It gives a lot of songs new life.
And this is also how you see how much time we spend together, because we have to discuss upcoming plans in the interview.
Yeah.
Figure it out, because we can see each other enough.
They're like, oh,
Yes. Did one summer in 2016. We did I think 9 or 10 shows in Finland. Just some of the festivals were acoustic because we wanted to try something different. And we had already toured I think 1 or 2 summers with that album, whichever it was, Paradise Child I think. And then now we decided to expand on it a little bit, and we also spent a little bit more time arranging the songs. The first time around it was more of just like, let's just play these songs and see what happens. But now there was a little bit more thought behind it, and then we also wanted to play shows in Europe to see how it works, and it did work really well. So first we had 9 shows, now we had 27 I think, and then next time it's going to be maybe a little bit more. So let's see.
tour.
Yeah.
It would be actually nice to kind of find new places.
With that stuff.
South.
So
Like Latin America would be something that
yeah.
probably might work. North America I find a little bit more difficult, but you never know.
have you ever thought about like doing an acoustic album?
Yes, we have. That's also one thing that has been in talks and might happen.
More
in some point.
choices to make.
Yeah. Now we have 10 albums that we could turn into an acoustic thing. So I don't know.
I mean, I hope most of these things that we have been talking about will happen eventually, but
Yes.
what will happen next is like, you know.
Yeah. We hope.
We hope.
We hope that a lot of these things that we've been talking about actually happen. the coming of age, we are not so sure about anything anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope you check out the new album and like it, and then if you don't, come and see us live.
And if you don't like that, then
I don't know. Then
Yeah.
it's just the next. But you know, I really hope to see you in live shows wherever you are, and you know.
I mean, if you've been watching so far, it's been, you said, like half an hour, so
Yeah.
probably you do
Yeah.
like us. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
see you on
so-
tour then, you know.
Otherwise, you need to question your ability to choose the things to do with your time. When you have
Yeah.
too much
I
time.
mean,
in
that's
there.
half hour you're never gonna get back. So
You're gonna be playing Pokemon Go somewhere, running, eating candies, drinking coffee with someone you like. Go.
yeah.
We're done.
Alright, yeah. Bye.
See you later.